Evening and welcome to the PMBC meeting for Wednesday, May 28th. First order of business is the warrant. We have two warrants tonight. We have about a little over $1 million. First warrant is for the senior center. I sent these out a little bit earlier. Let me share my screen. Here we go. As you can see in the upper right-hand corner, the total is $753,944.70. Consists of a number of invoices, which Michelle has meticulously gone over. There was one invoice in the packet that Vertex submitted that I believe didn't belong there or had been paid. So this is the corrected Munis tally sheet. Does anyone have any questions on the invoices for the senior center?
Just to explain that, Steve, it was a previous invoice that came in late on the previous warrant. It was for our building envelope testing that was completed, that we contracted with from the town in order to satisfy code and to get the architectural affidavits. And so that had been paid, and our accounting had put it back into the invoice once it had received. So we had to kind of strike that one from the invoice packet.
Right. So this Munis sheet is absent that invoice, and that's in the total of $753,944.70. Any questions or discussion?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. So this includes all the furniture from WB Mason?
Yes, this is the I believe there may be still a minor amount that's still left on their purchase order, Tim, and I'll double check that. But that we had, when this invoice came in, we had it vetted through our site manager on site to go through what was delivered and making sure that it was part of the inventory. And then we waited until the architect and the interior design to come out and do a punch list with that as well. And so we received the okay that everything had been delivered and that had been inspected by the architect. And anything that was on a punch list was confirmed with WB Mason that was being rectified.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. Just sorry, not to take time, but just so I understand how it works. Like who selects the furniture, and does WB Mason install these things? Is that part of that price tag?
They do. So the furniture is not part of the construction contract. It's sourced and procured through the owner with the interior designer of the architect. So we use a state bid list procurement on this, where we reference vendors who are on the state bid list. We get multiple quotes from them. Once we make a selection and we get them apples to apples, we make a recommendation on who the vendor is. And then that vendor comes in and provides all of the samples and the kind of decision making from the end user at that point. We kind of pick the quality, and then the actual selections of colors and actual finishes on the furniture get selected after that point. So WB Mason was the firm that was selected off of the state bid list.
So the architect has one person who's an interior design person?
Correct. Part of their design contract, in addition to the design, is that the town also purchased interior design services with this. And so with all of the floor plans, they do a test fit selection of furniture, and then they're highly engaged during the selection and procurement process of what's going to be built, going through all of the interior elevations, which show cubbies, desks, all types of cabinetry that's going to be in. And then even when there's an issue, once they're installed, for example, in the senior center, we did have an issue with some of the offices where one of the members didn't like the height of a certain cabinet. So we went and either moved it or sourced something different. So yes, the architect was contracted to help with that, and we held him to it.
And does someone from the town, like pick colors and
Yep.
styles?
Yeah. So
and stuff?
what we did, and I think a little bit before your time, and Steve, to tell me if I'm speaking out of turn, but a lot of that onus gets kind of put on the end user with Liz and her staff, and
Correct.
so
Yeah.
um, I'm not sure that we were bringing finish boards and color selections to the PMBC. We did certainly ask, but it was the decision to have Liz and her staff kind of sit down and go through all of the different color charts and the different materials that could be used.
Correct. Yep.
Because colors are one thing also, but also the material that's going to be used. You know, she knows best as to the clients that they have in that building and what's going to be the most durable and user friendly for her purposes.
Brian, does all the exercise equipment come in?
Yes. Have you used it?
Nope. I haven't had a chance to get down there.
And as far as the seating, like when they show a movie or something in the multi-purpose room, are there chairs for that? Like how many can they sit in there?
I don't have the exact quantity for you, Tim, but there is capabilities of putting out well over 50 chairs that's in that multi-purpose room. And they've designed it such that they'll have the flexibility to have kind of a movie seating, table seating for dinner, other different functions, games, as well as clearing that out. They're stackable chairs, stackable tables that can be moved outside of the multi-purpose room for any type of large activities or dance or pickleball or whatever.
I think Tim could give us a good answer there because he was involved in the setting up for the grand opening. Or Eric, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we had about 200 chairs out for that, so we could easily accommodate about 200 people.
Yeah.
With
Right.
that room, the room is divided now, but you can remove the divider and open that room up fully like we did on the opening day on ribbon cutting, so. But typically it'll be divided in half.
So we're getting a little off the subject of the invoice. Any other questions on the invoice?
Yeah, just about those, like some of those lounge chairs, like for 1,000 or 2,000 or 3,000. Is that?
Some of that's with donated money.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of that
donated?
was donations.
Yeah. And is that for exterior or what are?
Yeah, what we did, Tim, is when we contracted WB Mason, we split their scope of services between interior and exterior furniture. My concern when we got the entire package is that the exterior furniture was pretty expensive because of the material that it is. So we put the order in for the interior to make sure that it was going to be there for when we opened. And as we got further along, we felt more comfortable. We put the exterior package together. Once we had a building, once Liz could see actually what the outside was going to look like, and we made a couple minor changes. And by the time that we ended up refreshing that proposal, it was deemed that that was going to be taken out of donation funds. And so that actually will not be paid out of the project.
But it's all on the it's all in this invoice though, right?
It is not.
But aren't there a bunch of lounge chairs in that WB Mason?
Yes. So there's other interior lounge. There's other, I'll call it like open area furniture that you'll see outside of offices or in common spaces, that there is other furniture that was included as part of that.
Because if the WB Mason total is 198,800.
Yes.
And so that includes these lounge chairs that are listed within that amount.
I think Brian's saying that those are the interior lounge chairs.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up exactly what you've got here. A lot of information. I'm trying to do it quickly for you, but I believe that what you're seeing here is the interior package for the furniture as it sits here. And what I can do for you, Tim, is I can pull up the proposal and invoice, even though we're not recommending it for the exterior, but I can show you the itemized breakdown of what the exterior furniture was, because that actually was north of, I think, around $30,000 to $40,000 for all of the exterior furniture.
And I believe there is still exterior furniture to be delivered that has already been paid for on this invoice. So it might not be everything that you see out there right now, but there's still some additional planters and possibly lounge chairs. I'm not sure, but there's some more furniture. Like Brian said, we tried to get the interior furniture there first and get that set up. And there's still some exterior stuff that's going to come shortly, hopefully this week.
Okay, yeah, no, I've never bought furniture for a building like this, so that's fine. I'm just asking. This invoice from WB Mason has lounge chairs for $1,800, $2,100. You know, that's all. Is that normal? I'm just not familiar with it.
It actually is, and the pricing that we get is competitively bid already on the state bid list. And so we try to keep the price down as much as we can with the quality of the chair while not trying to sacrifice too much. We don't want to put something that's going to need to be replaced in a few years. But yes, that was something. This actually went through probably 2 to 3 iterations of review. These seem expensive. Do we need these? Let's make sure that we're getting the right stuff.
So much so that we're changing it up at night. I'm sorry, Steve.
I was just being facetious. I was just wondering if Tim was interested in getting some lounge chairs.
I just don't, I just didn't know what kind of chairs they were or what.
Well, they're very high quality chairs, so we're chaining them up at night.
Okay.
You'd be surprised what furniture goes for.
Yeah.
Apparently you are.
I am too.
Yeah. Any other questions on the invoice?
Motion to approve.
Sorry, just one more. Were there some design services for tennis courts on here?
Not as part of this project.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
We'll do a roll call vote. Bob?
Bob Ramley, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Tim?
Tim Harvey, yes.
Sean?
Sean Ahern, yes.
And Steve Moore, yes. And by the way, I just want to make, since I was remiss, I want to introduce Sean Ahern. He's the new school board representative.
Welcome aboard.
He was sworn in last week or the week before, I believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So welcome aboard.
Mr. Chairman, I also vote yes.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry, Jim.
That's okay, Mr. Chairman. I understand.
Just call me Steve. So Jim will be taking over for Ryan. Now, Jim, I sent out an email earlier today about Shakerland. Hopefully you'll be able to action that. So,
okay.
All right. Now, the next item of business is the 36 King Street.
Mr. Chair, quick question. Karen Morrison is an attendee. Would you like her promoted as a panelist?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can everyone see the warrant for 36 King Street?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
So I had sent this out earlier as well. Total is $320,012.77. Does anyone have any questions, comments?
Brian, does this basically clear up all the things that were in that shade of green from all the from the different change orders that you shared the other day?
It's a great question. This does not. So this is this is the April invoice, and so anything that was being billed against by the contractor does not reflect anything that we had brought forth for our meeting that we talked about. So
Thank you.
this is for work performed in April.
Thank you.
So, I'll save my question for later. Is there a motion to approve the invoice?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Bob,
Bob Romley, yes.
Bartlett,
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Tim,
Tim Harvey, yes.
Sean,
Shauna Hearn, yes.
and Steve Moore, yes.
Jim Duggan, yes.
I'm sorry, Jen.
It's okay.
Let's see. PMBC. Next item of business is approve the meeting minutes from 5:14. I did make comments on them. I'm not sure that I distributed them, so I'm gonna kind of defer that to the next meeting. Shaker Lane School Building feasibility study. We had a meeting last Thursday. This week, the owner's rep will be submitting a request to the Inspector General to use CM at risk. We should have a basis of design submitted to the MSBA in August. And an estimate prior to town meeting in what is it, October, Jim? Yeah.
Yes, sir. At the end of October.
So
I think
that's
it's the 27th or 28th or something like
yeah.
that.
So that's about the update on Shaker Lane. Senior Center, Brian, you want to take that?
Sure. Thank you to everybody for attended the ribbon cutting 2 Fridays ago. I don't think we've met since, so I thought it was a great success, great turnout. Seemed as though everybody enjoyed themselves. I had quite a sunburn the next day, but it was a great time. So thank you to everybody for that. We are fully into the warranty phase right now. We do. As we're closing out some of our activities, we've had a punch list generated from our commissioning agent that's resulted in a compressor that we deemed needed replacement in one of our rooftop units. We have confirmation of that being delivered within the next couple weeks. We will coordinate with the contractor to make sure that is replaced with the permission from Liz and her staff. And if it needs to be done during off hours, then it will be. We did.
So then do we have a an extended warranty starting when that gets installed?
Yes. In addition to any manufacturer warranties that are on top of that.
Good. Okay, thanks.
Yep, no problem. And so with the index that we had presented last week, I'm sorry, at the previous meeting, we've been working with Commodore on packaging all of that up and checking all of the boxes for our closeout. From a financial standpoint, Commodore has asked if they could have a little bit more time to reconcile with all of their subs. We're eager to have a meeting with them to start closing out a lot of their allowances and holds and clean up anything that's been lingering for the past few months. And ultimately that's going to result in the credit change order from their guaranteed maximum price back to the town with that.
So who do you negotiate that with? Is that Al?
No. So that will be with Sen and her boss as well. And so, I wouldn't consider it too much of a negotiation, as with the CM at risk process, we've been able to track all of it's an open book, and in their requisition, right. It can be about 100 to 150 pages. And so we've been making sure and tracking anything that's being charged to something that's being held as an allowance or we'll call it a rainy day fund in their overall maximum price. And there's going to be a substantial amount of money that has not been used, and that's a result of some of the credit change orders that we've asked for throughout the project, allowances such as dirt in the area. I know I've brought that up in previous meetings that went unused, which is great, and thank you to the DPW with that. But even more and above on the GMP side, on the owner's side, the contingencies that we've held have really rarely been touched, just with what we've brought to you for recommendations of any change orders. Currently, right now, before we reconcile with Commodore, we are showing roughly around $600,000 in our budget that is uncommitted at this point. And so what we'll work with our accounting is going line by line in our budget, addressing whether or not there's any potential or any risk to be using any of these uncommitted funds, and if not, dumping it down into the bottom, which is going to make it a little cleaner for the town when we're working with Michelle Reynolds in her office about getting closer to the final payment for all of the contractors on site, and therefore getting a final payment done. Another item that we have is the 31 Shattuck, the house that we've had. Commodore did do some miscellaneous work. They left the house in a better condition than when we found it. We have some administrative work that's being done both with the planning board, submitting the approval not required with the planning board, and getting that property set in stone for any future work that the town wants to do with that property. We've also working with Littleton Water and their associated fees for any connection with the new sewer line that's out in Shattuck Street. We understand that that's not up and running yet, but we are connected at this point. The water has not been turned on to the house, and we want to make sure that we've saddled up with the water department from a project perspective to make sure once that system is up and running, the town is free to do with that property as they wish at that point. Other items, so as we said in the previous meeting, Commodore has assigned pretty much their own closeout manager. So we do have check-ins with him weekly, going through the items as he has before he hits print on certain things that are going to be delivered to facilities, as well as being uploaded onto the town's portal for closeout documents. We do have an internal spreadsheet as well, in which we'll be downloading off of our online repository, the Procore, where we'll have a one-stop shop with a thumb drive. And I'll talk with you, Steve, and possibly the building commissioner, if those are things that they're interested in, which would be a history of all of our monthly reports, all of the RFIs, submittals to date, certified payrolls, meeting minutes that we've taken for the past 16 months. It may not be appropriate for the town's website, but it's probably something that should be kept somewhere in the event that they want to be accessed.
Yeah, agreed. And Brian, when these files are transferred, are they in, I assume, PDF format?
Correct.
Okay.
Brian, the building commissioner did request a file of as-built for that building and full format so that we can print them out in land use. And if you could send that to me, well, I could get it off Procore, but if you could just send the link to him, the PDF, that would be helpful.
Even better, if you guys want to send what you're looking for, I'll tell Commodore to provide it.
Okay. All right.
And have it brought to your office for that. And speaking of the as-builts, the only thing that may not be PDF, you'll have a PDF version of those as-builts, but some municipalities also want the CAD files.
Yep.
Which is something that we'll make sure that is provided from the coordination effort that was done inside the building.
All right. Thank you.
Brian,
Eric,
do you have lines yet?
Excuse me?
Eric, do you guys want a hard copy as well?
Yeah. Or I'm sorry, yeah, that would be nice, but we're trying to convert everything to digital, but Henry did say he wanted a set of as-builts, whether that's via, file or printed. So, yeah, Brian, if you could request from Commodore, we get a full set of as-built or final plans, that would be great.
I know when we go over the police department, we're always rolling out that
I was just going to say that.
set of miserable drawings.
Brian, Brian, did we get the lot lines established yet?
They've been established. What we don't have yet is feedback from the land court, which is the first domino to fall, and then it goes to the planning board for the approval not required. So we're moving at a glacier pace, but progress has been made, and we're hoping to get that wrapped up with probably getting on the next agenda. We're in coordination with Marin, the planning board's agent, and we're hoping to have that wrapped up soon.
Like you said, it can't be sold until the sewer system is working anyway.
Correct. There's one other item I did want to bring to the committee. I meant to send this out earlier this week. As you know, we've installed a significant audiovisual package in the senior center that looked great. I thought everything went well. Staff has been trained. Everything's been installed. We held some money back to make sure that the training was sufficient and that their closeout documents were great. But in addition to that, Mr. Kirby and LCTV have also solicited a service agreement with a company that was sent to me. And our recommendation after reviewing this is to have this service agreement. It's almost a 1 year added warranty and a little added enhanced commissioning. Where someone and Kirby, if there's something that I'm speaking out of turn from my understanding, please let me know. But I believe that this would allow for someone to come in on a quarterly basis, making sure that the software is up to date, that everything's running correctly, and properly maintaining the AV equipment for a year. The total for that was $3,000. I do have our budget up that we would recommend to take this out of our FF&E budget, which we have just under $13,000 remaining in. This would be for 1 year and multiple visits to the site. And then following that 1 year, the project would be closed out, and then the town would have the decision whether or not to add that into some sort of a capital expense or something that they have on a yearly basis if they deemed it worthwhile. So it's something I can share and I can distribute to everyone. It's a $3,000 agreement with the firm name is
Robert Dean
Associates, who LCTV has a long relationship with. So,
hey Brian, let me ask you a question. You said that the project could be closed out a year from now after this warranty has expired. Is it worth $3,000 to the town to keep this project open for a year?
Oh, so I may have misspoke there. Our recommendation is to pay for the year warranty now while the project is open. Once this warranty is up, I hope that our project is closed out at that point and we are done, and that our project would not be accommodating any more future warranties or agreements at that point, which then would be the purview of the town whether or not they wanted to continue that service under some other expense.
Okay. Thanks for the clarification.
Yep.
Brian, is this piggybacking what warranty we already have with them?
This
So
go ahead, Kirby.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Chair, to the speaker, there is warranty on the products. The concern that this service agreement provides for us, gentlemen, is at least 4 quarterly visits, not only to make certain the firmware is up to par, but also to provide training, additional training on the complex components that are in the multipurpose room. As Brian was gently mentioning, the training that we were concerned about only lasted about an hour. And there are some rather new extensive systems that the gentleman who installed them, Mike Broadangelo, would be the person who will be coming back to provide training and also to do those firmware updates. As compared to Key Code Media's, I think $35,000 for the yearly service agreement. So not only are we getting the ability to call them if there's something goes wrong with the system versus components, I want to be clear about that, but it also allows us to use his knowledge to continue training LCTV on some of these complex components. Any questions? I'll be happy to answer them.
Kirby, does the warranty, is it parts and labor or what is it?
Its primary warranty is there's an existing warranty for the products that have been installed that are, I think, 1 or 2 years. Brian, I think, was going to double check that one.
Yep.
But theirs is more of a service agreement. Robert Dean is a vendor for most of the large components. Large is in the heavy lift that they're doing. So they've got experience in servicing these components and have already, for instance, that touch screen that's in there, within a period of a week or so, they found there was an issue with it, and Mike brought it back brought us a new one. So it's a fairly good turnaround time, and we have a very good comfort level with the gentleman we're working with.
So this is a service agreement, not a warranty.
That is correct, sir.
Okay.
Sorry, how much is the service agreement for 1 year?
3,000.
3,000.
So Brian, are you putting this up for a discussion and a vote?
Yes, that would be great. With approval from PMBC, we will take this, engage with them, and secure the 1 year agreement and include that as part of our closeout, as well as make sure LCTV is aware of what the scheduling would be to make sure that we're maximizing the amount of that service agreement.
Okay. Brian, you want to put that in the form of a motion?
Me? Sure.
Yeah.
Um,
So we understand it.
Sure. We are asking for a vote to engage with Richard Dean Associates for a service agreement of $3,000 for a 1 year period. Subject that the OPM will engage with them, execute this, and bring this agreement forward at a future PMBC meeting for payment.
Funded by?
Funded by the Senior Center project.
Is that that's? I think you said you were going to use PP&E.
FF&E.
Furniture,
FF&E.
fixtures, and equipment in which we still have remaining budget inside of.
Okay. You wouldn't use owner contingency, or we don't have anything left?
Oh, we have plenty left. We just don't need it at this point because we have other line items that can accommodate this budget that I think it's more appropriate for.
Okay, so this would come out of FF&E.
I can make this just a quick, if I may. Here right now is this is a quick snapshot of our overall total project budget. As the left-hand column is our total budget that we have been carrying since we brought Commodore on board, which is at just over 18.6. What we have spent to date is the $16 million, and the $2 million is what we have remaining to spend, which has been committed to other firms, and the $607,000 is what remains uncommitted, which means that that is monies that have not been spent. That includes $471,000 in contingency that has not been spent, and $82,000 in what we call FF&E that we're recommending to be taken out of there.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call vote, Bob?
Bob Romley, yes.
Bartlett?
Bartlett Harvey, yes.
Tim?
Tim Harvey, yes.
Sean?
Sean Ahern, yes.
Jim?
Jim Duggan, yes.
Steve Moore, yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Anything else on Senior Center?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Let's move on to Indian Hill.
Do we have
For 36 King Street, and Matt, you can fill in some color for me if you'd like. We are currently certificate of occupancy is imminent at this point. We've had walkthrough with inspectors who did have some questions. We're addressing those. We have the affidavits from the designer and their consultants that are also required in order to achieve our occupancy. And after the occupancy, we'll be submitting for substantial completion and reviewing that with the designer. Signage has been installed. I'm not sure if anybody's driven by, but there is the new sign that's up on King Street there. I think it looks really nice. As well as thank you to the DPW and thank you to Eric, who's coordinated a lot of kind of the freshening up of outside with some of the mulching and plant beds that have happened. I think that's really kind of it's making it look a lot nicer in addition to the new roof and siding and the paint that went on at the building. We've engaged with the moving company, who's actually also WB Mason, with the installers that are being done, who are going to assist with providing totes and relocating files and anything that's going to be existing from the town hall site over to 36 King Street. We're hoping to have them mobilized next week. We understand that both departments work on a very different schedules, where Parks and Rec are very busy during the summer, whereas the schools are very busy towards the end of spring as school is starting to come to a close. And so we're trying to accommodate the best we can while trying to stay as efficient as possible, trying to minimize the mobilizations for the movers to do that. We have put together with Classic, we told them at our previous contractor meeting that we need to begin the closeout activities. We've gone through the specifications of the contract, which is spec section 017700. We've created a checklist and an Excel sheet for kind of a closeout index. A lot of this is redundant from the senior center, but a lot of it still applies here. We'll be downloading everything off of Procore, all the certified payrolls, meeting minutes, invoice packets, monthly reports, and then Classic. We've provided them a lot of checklists that we want to see. We're not letting them dictate their own closeout here, so we want to make sure that everything that's being turned over to the town is what's being required by the contract. Steve, what I'd like to do is maybe after the meeting, I can send you what our document looks like right now. And it's kind of a living document that we go to every week, as well as distribute to the team and have them bleed on it, provide notes and comments. And then we're going to kind of compile it. And it's kind of the main topic of our closeout meetings that we have.
I would ask you send that to the entire committee.
No problem. No problem. Additionally, with the King Street, there has been some negotiation on the closeout of any final change orders that we've had. I know with Ryan Ferrara leaving, there was some things in limbo. So we've also met with Jim and his office about how we're going to close this project out, as some of the change orders that were being provided and throughout the project, we have a lot of different stories to tell, and some of those are outside of the project and what the scope was, and trying to accommodate it within our contingency, how things were going to be funded from other sources. We are currently putting together the final change, which will encompass anything that had been left on the table, that had been vetted from us and the designer. And currently right now, from just an overall construction standpoint, the flooring has been done. And Matt, maybe you can add, is there anything from a construction standpoint, what remains right now for getting them out of there, besides breaking down temporary facilities and getting off site?
Yeah, that's the bulk of it. Is sort of demobilization, final cleaning, and punch list, which as of this morning, there were 6 items on the punch list that weren't closed yet, and they were indicated as ready to close. They just need to be back punched by the design team. Little touch-ups here and there in the stairwell, for instance. We're just approaching done as far as that. The other item that I know that we're working with Eric to coordinate, get scheduled, is the keying. With the 2 departments occupying the building, they have a grandmaster key tree, as well as submaster for each department, one for LPS and their key tree, and one for Parks and Rec and their key tree. So we're working with Neshoba Security and their locksmith department. They're currently working on a few things in their shop in terms of pinning and creating the keyways. And then I think as of Friday, they're planning to come to the site and begin installation. So that was their current plan, and we'll continue to work with them to get them into the building so that they can complete their work that needs to happen on site. See, Brian already mentioned moving, but punch list is very, very close to being done, and it's largely sort of administrative items to get them to the finish line.
Yeah, just the last thing I'd like to add is just had to do with the punch list. Is the punch list was a multifaceted approach where we went through, we also took some of the departments with us so that they could see their end spaces, see if they had any concerns, and put things on a list. And we needed to work through that punch list to determine if it was something that was going to be owned by the contractor or whether it was going to be something that was going to be deferred maintenance or something we were going to ask the contractor to do. So thanks to Eric, also with George coming out to the site, making sure that satisfying the end users and the departments while trying not to spend more money with a contractor that maybe something was outside of their scope. Yeah, so that's where we are. We will, once we receive our occupancy, that will kind of be the catalyst for getting people actually moved in, working with the departments. And I did speak with the superintendent the other day in regards to possibly having some sort of a small ceremony or an open house post occupancy and move in at that point.
Yeah, just to add to that, the building commissioner Henry did not want to issue a temporary certificate of occupancy for that, so he's just going to issue a full certificate of occupancy once everything has been completed, and that'll be once Kyle has signed off on everything and all the signage is in place and the punch list is final and complete. So it should be this week, hopefully Friday.
I should have mentioned that as well. The interior signage is scheduled for completion. Last couple of room signs, which are important to issue the certificate of occupancy, are being installed tomorrow.
Yeah, he's mostly concerned about the occupancy of each space and not conflicting from one room to the whole entire space. So it's just getting sorted out and should be all done soon.
So Brian, can you talk to budget?
Yes. So currently right now, our what we've done is we've assigned on our change order log what we call reasoning for the changes on there, whether it was unforeseen conditions, owner change requests, deferred maintenance items, inspector requests. We have that all broken out, and that's usually included as part of our invoice packet that we have. Currently throughout the project and working with Ryan throughout that is if a change came that was substantial and that we felt that it had been valued out during the beginning of the project, it would be advised whether or not that it would be something that the project contingency would be accommodated with or outsourced from somewhere else. We're currently outside and have exhausted our contingencies at this point. But what we have broken down is what those items are that are throughout the change order log that are going to be needing outsource resources for. So currently right now, all soft costs have stayed on budget. It's the contractor and the change orders associated with construction that has been exhausted and outside of it.
And the resolution of that is conversations with the town?
That's correct.
Okay.
I do have one other item I wanted to bring up, Steve, though, is something we've brought up probably about 6 months ago in doing investigations with the HVAC. Obviously, we do have an old building. The scope and task that we had from a design team was to get the building back to a suitable working condition at this point, without any real major or significant overhauls of the existing systems that we had. We had some replacements of some gas-fired boilers and some other smaller units. Throughout construction, we did lean on the engineer to provide us some analysis of some of the units, particularly a 15-ton unit we have in the attic, who agrees with the maintenance contractor that we have that unit is probably towards the end of its life. And so we had asked for pricing on this. The pricing was well at that point with that contractor was well over $300,000. And so what we did, and what was agreed to at the time with Ryan, is that we kind of put together a report for all of the effort that had been done from an engineering standpoint. And we also did some exploratory work, whether it be with some zoning as-builts to be done, as well as some smoke tests throughout the duct to make sure that we were feeding certain zones with certain units. And have put that together as kind of a report to submit with the town separately from our closeout documents, but to not let the effort go to waste with anything that had been done to date with the contractor to make sure. And so we can hand that to the town for any future. What I would recommend is a future holistic analysis from a systems perspective of the building. If there's something they wanted to do at a future date, they could use that information.
Brian, did you have as-built showing the ductwork of the existing building?
We had some, Tim. Some weren't as sophisticated as others, but there was a rough idea where things were served and where things fed from. And so that was the basis of a lot of the replacements that went in. There was very little duct that was actually redirected or new duct put in. There was a lot of just resurfacing what we had. And so I think Eric can speak to when we started in the building, there was one thermostat for the entire building. And so trying to parse that out, understanding you're going to have two separate departments with two separate needs. That's just some of the exploratory work that we needed to do. We wanted to make sure that that information gets to maybe the next person that picks this up at that point.
So you said you did smoke tests to see where the ducts went. Is that right?
We did.
So you must have not known what they were doing exactly.
We had general ideas, but also if I can show you, Tim, and pull up what we have for the as-builts too. This is my opinion, but I believe there'd been a lot of add-on work throughout the years in this property to serve the music school, and a lot of different, I wouldn't call it Band-Aids, but I'd call it a lot of teeing off and a lot of certain things going in certain directions. And so the smoke test was a short money confirmation on things to make sure that we were doing things correctly.
Is there any way what you learned it can be committed to a drawing or a narrative so that when you leave the project, the town has that information?
Yes, and that's part of the report that we put together and sent over from them based upon the work that had been done. This is our more accurate as-built, which will also be part of their closeout documents, but this was a little bit more enhanced to make sure that we had the correct information.
Great.
The report that we got following the smoke test color codes what goes to what and maps out that ductwork throughout the building, and it is a really helpful tool for that I think that the town will see a lot of value from.
Great. Did you add any thermostats?
Several.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, I also want to let the committee know that we have, there's been reference of conversations with Matthew and Brian that we had yesterday. As a result, we're going to continue to pursue internally with the insulation work that wasn't done, and look at what is the best possible opportunity to invest in HVAC, heating, air conditioning, things of that nature, and have an assessment, a mechanical assessment done, and what's in the best interest, whether it be the hybrid, whether it be complete all electric, but we are pursuing that separately, and we would like to be able to, we are going to look at doing the insulation on a parallel track, the insulation and potential assessment, and then look at future town meeting for HVAC investment. to replace that, which is in the three, as you know, Mr. Chairman, and it's in the arena of $300,000 just for that. So
I'm aware of that, Jim. Right now, that's outside of PMBC's purview. I don't know if the town wants PMBC involved in this, but awaiting further direction.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
So we're going to close out this project, Jim, and then
Yes, sir.
start another project.
Yes, sir. It would be identified as separate projects.
Okay, anything else on 36 King Street?
No.
All right. We're way over our usual time. Police department.
Well, I'll make this quick then. I've been hounding the waterproofing company. I found out my contact has been out. I've been working with Eric Durba. I have the testing agent ready to go. I just need the firm to come out and remove the stones. And so I have a call into his boss, who's the president of the waterproofing company, to confirm a date for next week. When I get that date, I will make sure that Chief Bernard is in the know with that. And then what I'm hoping to, and something that Matt and I had discussed as well, is we'll make sure one of us is driving by when activities are happening to make sure that things are smoothly, and give a little comfort to Chief as well, to make sure that things are going pretty clean, and that we're being as least intrusive as possible. The goal of this is to have that report. And
yeah, Brian, let the committee know what those dates are, because a number of us are in town, and we'd like to stick our nose in that business.
Brian or Erica, either one of you heard from Chief Bernard regarding any water intrusion in the building?
I have not, no.
Yeah, I have not either.
I think we're swimming down the wrong stream here.
I kind of tend to agree with you, Bob, but
Me too, Bob, but I don't know. They're pushing it. In the windowsill, I can put my fingers behind the window trim on the side and the sill.
I firmly believe it's a humidity problem in that building, not a water intrusion.
Me too.
yeah, we did a pretty good job on the exterior envelope last time.
Yep.
I do agree. Yeah. Another option may be, and I'm not trying to defer or kick the can down on this at all, but this isn't it's a small amount of money, but it's not that small amount of money that you've contracted with them. And if we don't want to do this test, we don't need to proceed with the work. But I'll leave that up, and I can discuss with Eric and then bring that to PMBC after, if that's a.
Well, the only thing that concerns me on that whole building is that decorative concrete masonry unit band.
Yeah, it's a bullnose band that goes.
Yeah,
around.
that bullnose band. It's flat. It's discolored tremendously in 2 years, and that tells me there's something going on there.
Yep.
It could possibly be, but we just had a severe nor'easter and we had no complaints of water intrusion. We can check it, we can moisture test it, and I actually could test it personally, but I don't see why we can't just spray it with a fire hose and see if the water comes in the window. I mean, isn't that essentially what the water company is going to do? For a water
it's not coming in through the window. It's coming in somewhere between the parapet and the window.
So if we deluge it with water and no water comes in, then Bob's right. It's got to be a humidity issue.
And I think that's what they were going to do, but a little bit more intrusive, Eric. They were going to remove a piece of that bullnose, I believe, and a few extra pieces or bands of brick in order to spray it. So, if that's something that maybe if you had the resources and wanted to save a few bucks to do it that way, I'm not sure if we'd like to continue with the mason. So, what I can do is I can confirm and get something scheduled, and then work with the PMBC and with facilities to make sure that this is the direction that they'd like to go with.
Yeah, Brian, why don't we talk tomorrow, and I'll
Yeah.
talk to Matt and Jeff, the chief and deputy, and we'll see what they want to do.
Okay.
Brian, is that heating cooling system in the building set up for dehumidification?
Dehumidification. I believe there is DX cooling in the building. However, I wasn't involved for the installation of that, and the scope that we had was strictly on the envelope. We did not get into the actual rooftop units themselves, but I would have to think that there's some sort of dehumidification cooling that goes into that building.
There is, and Bob, if you recall, a couple of years ago, maybe 5 years ago, there was a valve that was corroded shut, and it was blocking the condensate discharge, and it was out, I think, in the Sallyport area. Do you remember that?
Yep.
So there is a dehumidification. There may be a couple of them. I think it's a Fujitsu system that's up on the ceiling.
Yeah, any air conditioning system will dehumidify.
Yeah.
But it depends partly on the settings. You know, sometimes it'll dehumidify more deeply than at other times, depending on the controls. And sometimes if a unit is oversized, it may cool, like provide sensible cooling, but not remove the moisture that effectively.
Well,
I mean, is there evidence of high humidity within the building?
it's a good question. I think there's a lot more that we have to look at here. But as Eric said, you know, they'll get with the team tomorrow, and we'll get some more information.
Yes, sir.
Anything else on police station?
No.
Okay, member input. Bob,
I'm all set.
Bartlett,
I'm all set, thanks.
Tim.
No, sir.
No input.
Oh, sorry, Tim.
Okay.
Sean,
Tim.
I'm all set, thank you.
Jim.
No, good. Thanks.
I'm good. Also, the next meeting is June 11th. Appreciate your input and participation tonight. And is there a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Bob,
Bob Rama, yes.
Bartlett,
Bartlett, yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Sean,
Sean, yes.
Jim,
Yes, Jim, yes.
and Steve, yes. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks,
Sounds
everyone.
great. Thank you.